Hello, everyone. It's Alea, and this is the synchronized broadcast for Blog Talk Radio as well as the Ustream video. So you're going to hear the cues from Blog Talk as the broadcast goes, but it's going to be about a half an hour, and I
Your
will
show will
share
go
with you
live
what
in
I
5
learned.
seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's going to be about a half an hour.
Blog Talk Radio.
Until the world can live in peace. Until natural disasters no longer strike. Until freedom can protect itself.
Hello, everyone. This is Alea Leyland, and I am broadcasting on Blog Talk Radio. And this is the first broadcast of the Jack Canfield Success Principles program that I'm sharing with you guys. And after I did the intro earlier today, I really dived into it before my run, and I really looked at what the entire series is about, and it's a lot of work for 30 days. But you know, I'm up for it. I'm all excited. I went for my run, and that was awesome, and it's right on track with my goals for my physical health, which is to lose another 25 pounds and really be in shape in 5 years. And I'm sure that no problem, I'm going to be there. But the first chapter and the first principle of the Jack Canfield Success Principles is to take 100% responsibility for your life. And he talks about an occurrence that happened for him where his mentor asked him if he was taking 100% responsibility for his life, and he said, well, I guess so. And his mentor said, no, it's not I guess so. It's either or. You know, you either are taking 100% responsibility or you're not taking 100% responsibility. And so when I heard the question, I started to look at my own life to see, you know, am I taking 100% responsibility for everything that happens in my life? And I do know that for the most part, I do tend to, whatever is happening for me, I tend to look at it and go, what did I have to do with this? You know, why, if something is happening, whether it's good or bad, it's what did I do to cause this event, whatever it is, to happen in my life? And so in that respect, I do take responsibility. But then there's other places in my life that things happen that I kind of waffle and go, well, if they hadn't done whatever, you know, then such and such a thing wouldn't have happened. And, you know, as it's coming out of my face, I know it's like, no, that's not necessarily true. You had a hand in that. So that's going to be a place that I need some work. And it's, you know, I know that this stuff, you know, when I heard the introduction to the program and when I looked at the program, I thought, oh, I know that stuff. And it's true, and we all know this stuff. The thing is that we can read a million books, we can watch a gazillion DVDs, we can go to a bazillion seminars, but if we don't actually do the stuff that we're watching and looking at and reading, if we don't actually put it into practice, then it doesn't mean anything. And so, and I've seen this for myself, and I've seen it with other people who are my friends here in Hawaii, who say, oh, yeah, that's old stuff. Yeah, I was doing that back in the 60s. I was doing that back in the 80s. And it's true, they were, and I was. But or I shouldn't say but I shouldn't say but. And if I'm not currently practicing it, then it doesn't mean anything. So my goal now is to see if I can have difference happen in my life because I am practicing this actively. And this program is really nicely set up. I went online and I looked, and it looks like there is a place there where even if you don't have all the DVDs and CDs and book and all that stuff, it looks like there's a place there that you can participate and get some downloads and whatnot. So if you guys want to follow along, I am more than happy to have friends follow along. It will make it more fun. Part of the homework, part of the process is to have a mastermind group. So later on, some of you will be getting emails from me. And if you're interested in being in the mastermind group, please approach me. I don't have a problem at all with you saying, oh, yeah, I want to be in the mastermind group. My email address is aleighland@yahoo.com. So that's ALEIGHLAND@yahoo.com. And just drop me a note. I think the group is going to be 10 people. And so I'm writing down the people that, I would love to be in a mastermind group with, and I'm going to approach them. And, I don't know who all is listening to this. And so if somebody on this is listening to this and you don't get a call from me, it might be because I don't know how to reach you. So please send me an email and ask me if there is, if I've gotten all the people for the mastermind group, because I really think that the more people that we have who are helping us hold our vision, the easier it is for us to manifest the things that mean a lot in our life. So that being said, this is some of the materials that you get, and it's pretty cool. It's the Success Principle, thesuccessprinciples.com, or you can just type in Jack Canfield in your search engine, and you'll see the Success Principles come up as one of the selections. And then you go to that site, and there's a place there for you to download your list of your goals and your High Achievers 90-Day Success System. And then he has a calendar for every month of the year that follows along with the program. But what this program is specifically concerned with is the 30 days. So one of the things that's covered sort of right in your face as for the first principle of taking 100% responsibility for your life is event plus response equals the outcome. And I kind of like these little formulas that, it kind of gives you an equation to it's kind of like a touchstone. It makes it easier to remember the sequence. But in essence, it's no matter what it is that happens in my life, I can't control the event. I can't control if there's a tsunami. I can't control if there's a thunderstorm. I can't control if the economy is tanking. I can't control so many things that are going on in the world. I have no control over those. But I have complete control over my response to whatever it is. So if there's a tsunami, for example, we live here and we do have them occasionally. We've had 2 in the last 2 years. If there's a tsunami, that is an event. My response to the event can be to panic, freak out, let my blood pressure go through the roof, and who knows, I don't know, run for the hills, whatever, and basically create a whole lot of stress in my life. Or my response can be to look at the fact that I live at 500 feet, that I am out of the inundation zone, to call my friends who do live in the inundation zone and invite them to my home in order for them to also be in a safe area, and then to just go on about my life, and know that we are ultimately taken care of. So that's an example of the event response outcome scenario. And what he is saying in the book and in the workbook is that whatever response that we have to whatever the event is going to ultimately determine our experience of the event. And if we respond positively, then the outcome of the event is going to be positive. And if we respond negatively or with fear or whatever, then that is going to be the response. That's going to be our experience of the event. And if the other thing that he talks about is that you can either create an event or you can allow an event to happen. And so I'm looking at it and saying, okay, well, the way that I see that is that the master's response to an event is to create the outcome. So to create what it is that you want to have happen by setting into motion the sequence of follow-up events that are your response to whatever the original event was. I think I'm making sense there. Or you can just kind of allow things to happen to you, and allowing things to happen to you, there's such a thin line between orchestrating things and, being in control and being anal and really, really making it happen. There's such a thin line between that and going with the flow. The making it happen is very type A, and so, there's a lot of stress involved and all of that. Going with the flow is very laid back. My friend calls it type Z. However, there's this other place in there where instead of allowing or going with the flow, there's almost this place of giving up and becoming a victim and then being at effect of whatever it is that's going on. And that's not a good place. And in my understanding, that is not the place that you want to be. You want to go with the flow, but you want to go with the flow in a positive manner. The image that comes to mind is that, if you are in the river, everything is moving downstream. You can either be in the river sort of laying back in an inner tube and, just floating down the river, or you can be head first, sort of scrambling and trying to hold on, and, the river is taking you away. And so if you're in the second position, then you're a victim. And you're at effect, or if you're in the first position of, sitting in your inner tube and just kind of watching the world float by and taking in the sights and being at joy and at peace with everything that's going on, then you are going with the flow and you are allowing things to happen. So, in the introduction, I kind of gave you guys a list of the things that he was asking for. I'm going to do a quick recap for people who are listening to this on Blog Talk, because this wasn't on the Blog Talk. So your goals for the year, and I don't like to use the word goals because it so much puts forth this I'm going to make it happen kind of thing, and I don't think that that's so much the focus, I'm going to make it happen. I think it's more an idea of setting intention of saying, this is the experience that I would like to have. This is how I would like to be in this coming year. And then once that intention is set, the world sort of melds itself to accommodate your vision. So the things that are listed are, what is your, and this is for 5 years. This is not 1 year. And I think that I like the 5-year thing better than I do the 1-year thing, because the 5-year thing, you know, you are, if you're making resolutions and you do 1 year, then, you know, time sort of takes off and, you know, something happens and then something else happens and then you have to do this and you have to do that. The next thing you know, it's December, so 12 months have passed and you haven't done anything. And then for me, I feel like I failed because I didn't do what it was that I set out to do. So with 5 years, you get off track and, you know, stuff happens and whatnot, but then, you know, you get back on track and you've got much more time, I think, to complete whatever it is. So these are the areas. The financial and wealth goals. So, of course, that seems to be like the top of the list for most people, because most of us want to be financially free. We want to have wealth in all areas, whether that is, you know, money, or whether it's a wealth of friends and, you know, co-workers and all that. But I think in this particular case, he's speaking of material wealth. So it's, where do you see yourself in 5 years? You know, do you have X number of dollars in the bank? Do you have savings? You know, are you no longer dealing with money? And I was listening. I don't want this to go over the half hour, but I was listening to, my current book is the Steve Jobs story. And what I found to be fascinating, I'm only in the first third of the book, but what I found to be fascinating was, he says that he spent his childhood with people who, you know, because he was adopted, he spent his childhood with people who were not necessarily wealthy. They didn't have very much money at all. As a matter of fact, they had to work very hard in order to fulfill the promise of to send him to college. So he knew what it was like to be poor. But he never worried about money. He had his own little, you know, distortion field, they call it in his book. But he had his own little distortion field about money. And so he never really thought about it. He never really worried about it. It never was that much of a concern for him. And within a few years, he was still in his 20s, he became a multimillionaire. And his comment was, he still didn't worry about money. He still didn't think about money. It still was a no thing to him. Now, I think that that says something, and I'm going to start looking at other people who have created humongous wealth to see whether or not that is also their attitude, that whether or not they had money was not the issue. You know, they were doing other things. His thing was to change the world, which he obviously did. But money was not the guiding force for anything that he did. So, first of all, it's financial and wealth goals. Secondly is career goals. What is it that you see yourself doing in 5 years, and does it bring you joy? And to figure out what that is. And there's a whole chapter in the big book, this book, about figuring out what it is that you want and how to do that. And so I'm going to read that, and I'm going to read it tonight so that I can tell you guys about it tomorrow, because that's a big deal for me. I know sort of what I want, but I don't really know what I want. And people look at the fact that I have the gallery and that I make my jewelry, and they say, oh my gosh, you have the perfect life. And I do. I love my life. And I don't think it's quite the perfect life. I love what I do, and there's something else that I want to do equally or maybe even more than what it is that I'm currently doing. So I want to see how he goes about the determining what you want part. But career goals is the second one. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? What does it look like? What does it feel like? Where are you? And he goes into the how of stating a goal, which is very, very important, or stating a declaration of where you are. And again, we all know this stuff. We all know it completely. And at the same time, even though we know it, if we don't do it, it doesn't mean a thing. So this year, this 30 days, I'm doing it and I'm sharing it with you. Okay, the next thing is your free time goal. What does your free time look like? That one's an issue for me. And as I said in the last broadcast, I love everything that I do, and I go at everything that I do 110%. And so I think of all of it as my free time social goals. So, the run this afternoon was a free time thing. When I go to work, I'm at work, but I'm on the computer, I'm working on the cookbook, I'm doing this other stuff. So the free time thing is sort of strange for me because I know that I should have free time, and it's become an issue about, what do I do with free time? I don't know what to do with it. To sit in a movie almost seems like a waste of time to me. It's like I should be doing something. So this is something that I have to work on. My free time one is a big deal. Health and appearance, I'm on it. I'm on it. I did a 5K this evening, and I'm trying a new different thing with training, so I'm not going to go out as often, but my workouts are going to be more intense, so that should be interesting. We'll see how that works. But my ultimate goal in 5 years is to be super fit, six-pack abs and all that other stuff, and 25 pounds lighter and way higher endurance. It is my goal to do a 4-hour marathon, and I really think I can do it. It means cutting my time in half, more than half, for what my first marathon was this year. This year it took me 8 hours and 44 minutes. So in 5 years, I want to do a full marathon in half that time, or less than half that time. So I got my work cut out for me, but I think I can do it. So that's the health and appearance. And then the other one is relationship goals. And, what kind of relationships do you want to have, intimately, friend-wise, work-wise, with the world in general, because how we relate to the world is going to, of course, have a whole lot to do with the event response outcome. So that's the relationship one. And then personal development goals. Rather than, oh, yes, I've seen that class. Oh, yes, I've been to that workshop. Oh, yes, I know about that teacher. Oh, yes, I listened to that station. I have those cards. I read that book. It's, yes, there's all those things. And what have we done with those things? How have we put that in action? And so that's an issue. And in my case, right now I'm listening to the Steve Jobs book. I'm doing this Jack Canfield course. I tend to bite off a lot. I will be teaching a workshop in March on the Holistic Living University, which I will tell you guys more about that as we go along. But I will be teaching a class during that time on the use of crystals. And there are 2 other classes that also will come out of that. There's one on the use of crystals. There's one on business, and business on a shoestring, which was the series I did last year. And then last but not least is health and fitness, which will be coming up in March. So I'll let you guys know about that. And we've got like 5 minutes left in this broadcast. The last thing is community and charity goals. And I wanted to say a little bit about this because I don't know about you guys, but for years I felt like in order to be a philanthropist, in order to give money, I had to have a lot of money. First of all, you have to have a lot of money, I thought, in order to give money for anything. But aside from that, I had issue with, because of law of attraction, I had issue with giving money to charities like the homeless shelter, like the American Cancer Society, like all of those things. I had issue with that because to me it was paying attention to something that I actually wanted to have go away. And if I was going to be giving money to it and placing my focus on it, then of course it wasn't going anywhere. So in the last 2 years, I discovered Kiva, Kiva, and in the last year, I created the team Running for Change. And so it is my goal, and I will share this one with you guys, is to have 100 active members in Running for Change so that for $25 at a time, we can affect the lives of people all over the world and help them to be self-sufficient. And the best part about this is you still have the money. It's not like you're giving it away. So it is being used, it is earmarked to be used over and over and over and over again. But as long as you choose the people that you are loaning it to wisely, no, you don't make interest on it. But your money gets to be used over and over and over and over and over again in order to enhance a micro business somewhere in the world. And so that's my philanthropic goal, my contribution goal. And I'll be doing that throughout the next 5 years, and who knows for how long after that. Right now, I'm up to 46 loans. I have another $150 to put in, which is another 6 loans, and I'm really, really, really excited about being able to do it that way. So that's the stuff that is the first chapter, the event. Event plus response equals outcome, and of course if your response is positive, then your outcome has to be a win. That's just, it's a given. So it is my desire to make sure that whatever event that happens in my life, that my response to it is going to be positive, that I am going to see the gift in whatever it is, and because I see the gift, then the outcome is going to be positive. I thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you got something out of this. My website is alealeyland.com. There's not a whole lot there at the moment. I will be getting more up there, hopefully in the next couple of days. But if you are wanting to play along with this program, go to Jack Canfield on your search engine and search for the Success Principles, and then join me and follow along with the program. We can brainstorm and whatnot, and do know that you may be hearing from me for the mastermind group. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a fabulous evening. 2012, it rocks. I am so excited, and I'm sure you are too. Take
90
care.
seconds.
And aloha.
Okay.